like to call to order the joint meeting of the Glendale City Council and the Glendale Redevelopment Agency for February 15th, 2011. May we have a roll call for council, please?
Council members Draymond. Here. Friedman.
Here.
Quintero.
Here.
Weaver. Mayor Najarian.
Here.
We have the roll call for the Redevelopment Agency, please.
Agency members Draymond.
Here.
Najarian.
Here.
Quintero. Here. Weaver. Chair Friedman.
Here.
May we have your report?
Agenda for the February 15, 2011 joint public meeting of the Glendale City Council and the Glendale Redevelopment Agency was posted on Thursday, February 10, 2011 on the bulletin board outside City Hall. Before you today is the Director of Public Works and Community Development regarding wayfinding program for downtown Glendale. 1A is agency motion directing staff to proceed with the wayfinding concepts and sign program for the downtown. At 1B is a council motion directing staff to proceed with the wayfinding concept and sign program for the downtown. 1C is agency motion directing staff to proceed with preparation of technical drawings, specifications, program, and cost estimates for the wayfinding program and parking signs, and to prepare bid documents for agency review prior to going out to bid. At 1D is council motion directing staff to proceed with preparation of technical drawings, specifications, program, and cost estimates for the wayfinding program and parking signs, and to prepare bid documents for council review prior to going out to bid.
Thank you. Mr. Starbird.
Yes, I go to Michael Nilsson, Mobility Planner, to give you the staff report. Michael?
Good afternoon, members of the City Council and Redevelopment Agency. Last year, the Council agency engaged Hunt Design to develop a wayfinding and parking sign program in Glendale as part of implementing the downtown mobility study to improve traffic and parking management. In the past year, staff has been working with Hunt Design and North Star Destination Strategies in developing a wayfinding concept that is fully coordinated with the citywide branding strategy. Today, we are presenting a design concept to Council that has been presented, reviewed, and supported by a variety of stakeholders within and adjacent to downtown Glendale, including the Downtown Glendale Merchants Association, Brand Boulevard of Cars, Glendale Transportation Management Association, Glendale Galleria, the Americana brand, and small business owners, local property managers, realtors, and developers. The purpose of today's meeting is to receive feedback from Council and direction on the design concept in the interest of being able to move forward with the design concept to develop plans, specifications, and bid documents. We intend to come back to Council in early summer with bid packages and cost estimates. Once Council directs us to move forward with bids, a fabrication consultant will be selected with the intention of installation of parking wayfinding signs downtown by this November. Wayne Hunt from Hunt Design is available and prepared to present the details of the design concept, and staff will be available to answer any questions you might have on this subject.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Agency, thank you for giving some time today. I've got 12 very quick pictures to show you. I'm Wayne Hunt of Hunt Design. Thank you. I'm not... you can just move them forward if you want. Yeah. Okay, great. Glendale seems to be part of a very positive nationwide trend in organizing city signage to kind of clean up a lot of clutter. This is a sort of a brief collection of what's on the streets currently. Next. Yeah. The idea here is that each sign that the city has is a point of contact for visitors, and each sign is part of the city's collective voice. And since you are in charge of signs, if you speak with the same voice, you can do a lot to communicate with visitors. So we have organized all the messages and worked with the planning department and the stakeholders and evolved a comprehensive system of signs. And I want to add that we've done a lot of these programs. This is the first time where the city has taken a broad look, including parking signage, park signage, pedestrian and wayfinding signage, and even signs inside the garages. So this is for us, is a kind of a very broad, comprehensive driving, parking, walking sign program. The work's organized into vehicular signs up on the left, wayfinding signs. The lower left are a parking subset of identity and directional signs. Parking is a very big deal in this town. In fact, I thought you were in the parking business when I first started this project. There's so much parking communication on the streets. On the right is the parking garages themselves. The three big garages become a very big part of the city's identity, I think, for visitors. In the upper right is a pedestrian kiosk concept as well. Next. This is the wayfinding concept shown in photographic mock-ups. We've created a very simple, clean, bold approach featuring large letters. One challenge with wayfinding signs is you need to get the largest letters on the smallest signs, so that there's only a limit to what you can put up engineering-wise, so you need very large messages, very simple layouts. And we've got a side-mounted approach. We are proposing a median sign as well. And in the lower right is an ongoing study for bike signage in the same sort of style. Next. The branding has been a parallel effort on this, and there's a branding team, as you well know, and we've worked with them to come up with a way that their influence can be combined with this at the right time. So we've got a branding opportunity at the top of each sign, and certainly the backs of the signs are wonderful opportunities for image making and branding support as well. The color we're working with is this sort of rich dark gray, although we understand the color is very subjective, and we may look at some other colors. The technical requirements of the color, however, require it to be quite dark to create maximum contrast with the messaging. Next. The parking subset is building upon what the city was already doing with the Circle P, creating a unique layout and look for the parking using the same typography that works for the rest of the city. So we've got a lot of parking directionals, parking lot identification, and new parking space availability signs as well, both maybe median and also post-mounted. Next. And the three garages themselves are being upgraded. There are several hundred signs in these garages. In addition to the entrance statements, we're proposing sort of an all-new cleanup of all the signage at the entrances, featuring the word park. Next. And all new signage inside the garages to unify the visual language for drivers as they park, so that all the garages are the same in the city. Next. There are a lot of surface parking lots that make up a big part of the streetscape. So we are proposing a unified look that matches the garages but rolls out into the horizontal parking lots with the same language, organizing the rules and the parking rates, etc. Next. And the last piece are a dozen or so of these map-based pedestrian kiosks that are primarily organized around the parking garages to greet exiting pedestrians and get them on their way throughout the downtown. Next. And this is the summary of the sign types again. So this is where we are. We're asking you to allow us to go into final design and working drawings and cost estimating. Be happy to take any questions. We're very excited about the project. It's a terrific project, I think, for us and for the city.
Questions?
I want to say I like what I've seen. However, I want to make my own preference clear that though I like the idea of these family of signs that then are broken down to subsets that are also within that family, we are talking about wayfinding. Because if we get to a point, and this is where I don't want to see this go, that we're talking about all signage in the city, then I start to have a problem. I really like the compatibility of what you've shown, shown us. But in the report, it gets into things that, in my mind, are not wayfinding signs. And there's a little commentary under, as a caption under many of these photographs that make it clear to me that the person that wrote the captions, either our staff didn't look at them, some of them, or...
I take full blame for the captions.
All right. It's all right. Nobody needs to take any blame at all. Or the person who wrote the caption is just simply not aware of some of the history of this stuff. So, for example, there are examples shown in neighborhood business districts. A sign that says Kenneth Village on a bus bench is certainly not a wayfinding sign.
Right.
A median sign that says Spar Heights is not a wayfinding sign. A wayfinding sign is not in the middle of a district. It's something that gets you to the district. That's why it's wayfinding. So as long as we're talking about wayfinding signage, I'm very happy with this. But a lot of the examples that were shown of city signage, I wouldn't want to extend a program out to the point that we lose all character whatsoever,
Right.
or all all sort of personal touches that begin to highlight the individuality of different districts and areas within the city.
Should I respond to that? Sure. I couldn't agree more, and I hope the report didn't get the wrong impression. The character of the villages and districts is paramount, and we want to direct you to the villages and districts, not change their identity. So the Kenneth bus stop sign we thought was a great example of a village identity, and we certainly do not intend to tell the districts or villages how they should look. And in fact, their very diversity is part of the charm and appeal, I think.
Well, I can give you an example of what I'm talking about, and those are. Thank you for addressing that, because that is one example. Another is the caption that says, "Signs from a recent neighborhood residential district identification program are effective, but look too institutional, and the peacock imagery seems arbitrary." Well, clearly the person that wrote that did not know what the city's history is with that peacock image. That is part of our city's history. That is part of our city's our city's original logo.
And there it is.
And that it was created not haphazardly or arbitrarily, but through a long process. And Mr. Zern is sitting back there, and he can tell you how much discussion, how much research went into those. So that's another example, but not by no means the only example. But the others are the ones you just mentioned: the Kenneth Village sign, the Spar Heights sign, the Adams Square signage, Spar Heights, Montrose Shopping Park, and so on and so forth. So I appreciate your comments on that.
In the report, it points out some of the signs that mark the entrance to the city of Glendale, and talks about how in some places there is no signage that lets you know that you've entered a new city, and in all of the other places they're mismatched. So as part of the sign program to create a new entrance sign for the city and to unify them and to remove the old entrance signs?
Councilwoman, it's not in our scope currently. That would be our recommendation long-term, to unify the gateways, and that might be one or two major gateways are architectural, and the others would be more minor interpretations that would be panel signs or such. But we have not addressed that other than observing what's there. And by the way, the report is meant to be the observations of an outsider, so some of these comments clearly, like the peacock, come from an outsider's what does this mean to a visitor kind of point of view. But we have not addressed the gateways as a design item in our current scope.
Okay. Well, at some point I would be supportive of looking into that, and certainly as we're further along with our general branding, because that's one place where we need to be very sure that whatever branding we have is incorporated into those signs. But I agree that there's places where it's strange that when you come in from Los Angeles, there's no large sign welcoming you to Glendale. And in other places, the sign, I think you pointed out the one on Glen Oaks, which I'm sure at the time was meant to hark into some of our missions, but now with sort of Taco Bells on both sides that incorporate the same architecture, looks like it's referring more to that than...
A further challenge is the many gateways into your city. The city has a lot of arteries. It would have to be some sort of prioritized or hierarchy, picking two or three as highlights and then some secondary program for the rest.
Absolutely. Okay, but in general, I'm very supportive of the program. I appreciate the clean look of these signs. I think that they will go a long time before they feel at all dated, because they are so uncluttered and so clean. And I also like the images on the reverse side, and that you've coordinated with the branding team, and that there's opportunity on the top of the signs possibly before they're even manufactured, I assume, to incorporate that branding into that area. And it's absolutely uniting the signage for the parking, I think, is really important. It's very confusing for people to be able to distinguish what's a public parking lot and what's a private parking lot that allows the public to park. And we need to be able to draw that distinction so that people know that they're really parking in a public parking lot where they get the hour and a half free, as opposed to a bank building that may say public parking, but it's going to charge you, $5 every 20 minutes or whatever
Right.
you charge. So I think that the public will appreciate that signage, and certainly visitors will appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm also in support. However, when it comes to that Glen Oaks sign, I tell you what I'm not interested in, and that's spending a lot of money. I mean, these are tough budget times, and that sign works. It may be a bit dated. It ties to the Camino Real and all that in California history, but I really just don't want to go out and destroy signs that are effective and spend money needlessly. We do need these types of signs at all of the major entrance points in Colorado, and although there is a sign on Colorado, I believe, but up through Glendale Avenue, up in the north, through Foothill. So if we tie them all together, I think that's a good idea. In terms of the signs for our public parking, that to me is the most essential and the one that I'm sure we're going to work on first. And I absolutely hope that the Orange Street Garage, that corner of Orange and what's the other street, not Lexington? In California, yeah. I hope we put up a big park on that corner.
That's a challenge, that particular southeast view when
Right.
you're driving south. Orange, yes.
That's exactly, well, no, not even driving south on
Yeah.
Orange. No, the big challenge is Brand. Brand's
Yeah.
a principal street. People come up and down Brand, and unless they know
Yeah.
about that parking lot, they will drive right by it. Hopefully, even if they sort of glance over to the right and they see a big blue park, they'll understand it's a public lot. But anyway, the sooner we move forward, the better. I think we need this going.
I just have a couple questions. Now, explain to me how this is going to interface with our branding. I mean, what if our branding people at North Star say we want to use a particular font or a particular color or a particular shape of sign? What does that do to everything you've done so far?
Let me answer the first part, and I'll have Annette join me. We're fine on the font for anything they want to do with the city name. That will plug into our sign. We're negotiable on the color if the color is dark and functions as a traffic directional sign. We're not too negotiable on the sign shape, and I think they've already seen these signs and the shapes. I don't think the shape will be an issue. Color, we have to work with them on that. And the font, I think that's going to be their call in terms of the header. And if they want to control the images on the back of the signs, I think it'll be up to them. So we work with them, they work with us. I think we're on the same track and can marry these two programs appropriately. If we start the drawings now, I think we'll be able to marry their items at the right time if we don't change the physicality of the signs, and I don't see that happening in terms of the shape and the physical presentation.
And so the idea is to have a uniform set of signs. We have the auto row. We've got a fledgling entertainment district, museums, and we've got other areas. So signs for the auto row would be the same type of sign as let's talk wayfinding, I guess. For the entertainment district, that would be the same for
Yes,
the Montrose or this way to Adams
I
Hill.
think if you look at the wayfinding signs as the neutral messaging that gets you to some place that's interesting and colorful, like a village or downtown or entertainment district or the auto row, remember all the cars. Once you're there, I think those places might have their own visual language. But the wayfinding is somewhat neutral. But the wayfinding does have a brand expression opportunity, which I think was your original question, Mr. Mayor. So do you want to add to that? Yeah.
Agency Chair, members of the agency, as Wayne mentioned, we have been coordinating with North Star to try and incorporate the brand in any way possible. Of course, there's some restrictions in terms of the size of the sign, the font, and some of the colors that we can use. That's why we've developed a sign that would be able to incorporate the brand in 2 locations. One is where you see the Glendale in the top portion, so if there is a specific color of font or even a shape that could be attached at the very top, we could do that, as well as the back of the sign, so we can incorporate specific colors, fonts, and images into the sign. So the consultant teams have been working together, and as of right now, the schedules are going to be moving at the same time so that we can incorporate the brand during the fabrication.
Okay, as long as that's my concern, is that we work cohesively with North Star, because I think they're a very critical component and not be disjoined, but have
No, we agree.
a common timeline and a common work effort. So, yeah, other than that, I like that, and I think one of the complaints we do have in wayfinding is a little confusing. Parking is a little confusing. A very big step in the right direction. Payment.
Thank you. A couple more questions came to mind. Can we talk about we need to go back a slide, or I don't know, forward a slide. It's the digital signboards on Brand Boulevard, the monolith right there. Yeah. Can you give me an idea what the dimensions of that thing on the median is?
Yes,
The digital sign? Tall is
4.5 by maybe 6, and I think the use of the medians is still an open question that will be fleshed out as we're doing the drawings and doing our site work.
Okay. And I assume if that happens, that these won't be anywhere remotely near sight lines for crosswalks and things like that, so that we don't have people, families with strollers disappearing behind signs.
There are big safety issues with seeing across the median and behind a sign. We have to work on.
These are not small, and that's what is a little disconcerting to me. But that's not definite yet.
Nope.
That we would even do median signs. Okay. Because I see there's a variety of those. There's the one smaller digitized sign that's the sort of upper right corner on the slide there that we're looking
The
at.
practicality, cost, and location of the changeable signs is yet to be studied. We wanted to get a sign-off on the aesthetics and its role in the overall program, but there are some technical challenges with those two.
All right. This was not going to be my other question, but what happens if someone's driving down the street and all the digitized spaces say full? Well, in that case, we're doing great.
Well, that's up to the parking manager. May never let that happen, even if they are full. I don't know. That's a kind of a Disney question. Are there any spaces left at all? But
all right. Then my last question is, I presume maybe you or Mr. Bagdanian, I'm not sure. In our neighborhood business districts, other than Montrose, which ones have municipal parking lots?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part, Mr. Graham.
Other than Montrose Shopping Park as a neighborhood business district, they have municipal lots, but which other ones do? I don't remember if any do.
As far as the neighborhood districts, a defined municipal lot, I don't think we have.
Close by Spar Heights?
Spar Heights has...
Okay.
Which is only close by is where we have Spar Heights. There's one parking lot. I believe it's 7. Parking lot 7 near Montrose is closer to Spar Heights. Other than that, there is nothing in any other area.
Okay.
Yes.
My reason for asking, thanks very much. That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. I just also want to make sure of what we're doing when we put up these. I like these parking signs, the wayfinding signs for this, but it may or may not work with, in the middle of an Old Town district, to put a pylon in the middle of the sidewalk where because they're all surface lots there. And the example you showed was a pylon sticking up out of the sidewalk And I can imagine, I can almost guarantee the kind of yowling and screaming the city will hear if that kind of a design goes up right out of the sidewalk in the midst of a,
I'd
1930s.
like to leave it open, but I'm guessing the economies of this are going to lead those pylon ones to the larger downtown lots, where the lot's bigger and the scale is more appropriate. This center sign in the top is maybe more appropriate for those smaller, more remote lots. So I think you're going to have a few lots that deserve bigger pieces and a few that are going to be a little more modest to share the same aesthetics, I think.
Well, the yelling and screaming I'm talking about isn't even necessarily with the merchants, it's with the surrounding residents.
Yes, yeah.
Because the lots, and some of them are larger, that serve, one of them is more than 300 spaces. It's going to be, if you have that kind of signage there, it won't be on the main thoroughfare where the stores are. It'll be where the entrance to the lot is, where we interface with residential. And that's kind of my concern. As well as the signage that would go on the main thoroughfare, Honolulu Avenue or Ocean View Boulevard, that are directional signs to the parking lots. I just want to make sure we're in some kind of communication with the groups in these neighborhoods.
We've certainly been tipped off about that, and we're normally pretty sensitive about where residential and commercial properties come together and how to do things that don't affect the residential character, and especially up in the Montrose area. So we'll have to do that one by one and use appropriate parts of the system for that. But I think we're pretty
I just
aware
want
of
to
that.
hear that there's some communication going
Yeah, there is.
That's all. That's really it.
Great, if there's no other comments, I don't have any cards on this item. Two council motions at B and D. Someone will move those.
I'll move B and D for the council.
Second?
Call, please.
Councilmember Strayman?
Yes.
Friedman?
Yes.
Quintero?
Yes.
Weaver? Mayor Najarian?
Yes.
And do we have a motion for the agency for items A and C?
So moved.
Second?
Second, can we have roll call, please?
Agency members Drayman?
Yes.
Najarian?
Yes.
Quintero?
Yes.
Weaver? Chair Friedman?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
No, I have a question.
Mr.
I just want to make sure that something will be coming back to us before these finally go up, so we have some of the questions answered that were not answered, such as whether median signs, how large, where, that sort of thing, before it's actually put in, and also some of the neighborhood business district stuff that interfaces with the residential. All coming back.
I'd anticipate a whole implementation plan coming back to you, so timing, costs, locations, everything.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, the motion to adjourn for council.
So moved.
Second.
Council's adjourned.
Is there a motion to adjourn for the agency?
So moved.
Second.
Agency is adjourned.